He's sitting there saying, oh, I'm against it when we kill innocent, but we don't do intentionally. We always are the good guys and never. So, how are you stopping the financing of the war? Right? She says, well, you don't have any solutions either. No, I very much do. Quit fueling terrorism. Stop fueling terrorism. Stop setting terrorism as the example all around the world of how you're supposed to handle business. You just kill people and ask questions later. Why is everybody else killing people and asking questions later? Because we set that example. So quit financing the war, point out the politicians who are in favor of the war, and don't be for them, be the ones who are against it. She sits there and says she wants to wag your finger at others instead of licking in your own front yard. She's like, these damn radicals, right now we're funneling money and arms into Syria. The White Helmets. The White Helmets are Al-Qaeda light. They're associated with Al-Qaeda. There was the execution, and then the White Helmets are right there picking the guy up. Check out Eva Bartlett and Vanessa Beeley. These are the ones that broke the White Helmet story. Bernie Sanders was, they took a picture of Bernie Sanders the other day. So we were doing that before, giving money to Al-Qaeda, giving money to ISIS in order to fight our wars, just like we did with Bin Laden. We gave money to Bin Laden to fight the Russians. We gave money to the Mujahideen to fight the Russians. We're doing the same shit in Syria. John McCain is all about this shit. John McCain cannot wait to give money to Al-Qaeda, give money to ISIS, and, in order to fight our enemies. Our enemy's enemy is our friend until they vanquish the enemy, and then they become our enemy again, right? So, that's for, you want to stop terrorism, you're serious about stopping terrorism? Okay, well then be against the Syrian war. Trump said he was going to be against the Syrian war, but the deep state pushed him to be the exact opposite. Of course he's a fucking warmonger. He's going to continue to be a warmonger all 4 fucking years of his presidency. I have very little hope of any progressive legislation whatsoever from this guy. I don't understand why people are still holding out. I don't know. I think they're... Anyways. So she just says, you're right. I don't have a solution. I can't stop the financing. Can you... She's just being a bitch. She's just being a stupid, shitty bitch just trying to get the last word in. And she thinks if she gets the last word in, I'm a good person. No, I really am. I'm a good person. What do you mean? And here I'm like, well, you got $120 billion in Saudi Arabia. You got the White Hats in Syria. You got, 30 killed with the Yemen strikes. You got 278 killed with the St. Patrick's Day massacre. So I'm just like, boom, data, boom, information, boom, just like nonstop. And she's like, that isn't what I said. You're getting my words all messed up, and you're not. No, I did hear you. You said you. Let's go back to exactly what she said. I won't paraphrase her. I'll take the words. No, these people will continue to threaten our existence. We just can't let them win in scaring us. So we stop doing things. We must accept the precautions taken, even if it's an inconvenience. So let's get the TSA at the fucking concerts now. Let's have some official, authoritarian official pat our nuts and take pictures of our naked bodies. That's her fucking solution, because a bombing happened in Manchester and across the Atlantic Ocean. She is sitting there talking about all concerts now have to have TSA fucking agents. Should there be some kind of security check? Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think so. But how much? I think a gentle pat down and keep your fucking eyes peeled. People are crazy. So if someone shoved a fucking AK up their ass, you probably would notice that, right? Him pulling that thing out. Anthrax is a powder. So we're going to have to go through, airports suck. I don't want to fly planes because of the fucking TSA bullshit. Go through this line, go through that line. They're fucking assholes too. They take themselves way too fucking serious. And, they have to justify themselves some way, so they have to fucking abuse the obedient. The compliant and obedient, they'll fucking manhandle, but the actual, criminals, they'll let pass by. No, these people will continue to threaten our existence. We just can't let them win in scaring us. So we stop doing things. These people. What people? The brown people, the poor brown people who strap bombs onto themselves, but not the wealthy whites in airplanes bombing other. That's okay murder. It's so stupid. Lise G. Roosevelt, it seems to me that as long as you have a nice shiny gun, if you have a nice shiny gun and you shoot from like not just 100 yards away, but from miles and miles and miles away, right? If you just shoot the guns up into the air, and then it hits the person, 1,000 miles away in another fucking nation. She's okay with that. She don't see it happening. She don't see the baby happen. The media is not reporting it. She's not curious about it. So that's why she didn't know about the St. Patrick's Day massacre. She didn't know about, the 278 people that was killed in Mosul, Iraq. And then you also have the 30 people killed in Yemen, the first airstrike of Donald Trump, and then that inaugural weekend. And actually, I got a couple more. That inaugural weekend, there's 10 people that was killed that nobody even knows about. So if we want to be serious about stopping terrorism, we'd stop participating in it, right? Stop funding it, stop participating in it. That first airstrike of Trump's, the 8-year-old daughter of Anwar al-Awlaki was killed. So there was an 8-year-old who was killed in Yemen, just like there was an 8-year-old killed in Manchester. Then a U.S.-born Yemeni preacher was killed in a 2011 drone strike. He was among the victims. Oh, the daughter. The daughter was the daughter of Anwar al-Awlaki, a U.S.-born Yemeni preacher. So her grandfather, Nasser al-Awlaki, a former minister of agriculture, said she was hit with a bullet in her neck, and she suffered for 2 hours. 14 members of the Al-Qaeda Arabian Peninsula were killed, the death of a Navy SEAL, and we lost $75 million. Aircraft. So $75 million fucking gone. We killed 14 million of the people. We didn't get the main guy. The death of a Navy SEAL, so one American died too, in addition to the 8-year-old daughter and 30 civilians. So we killed 14 of the bad guys, but we also killed 30 of the good guys. That's a net loss. We killed 16 more good guys than we did of the bad guys. So if there's one criminal in the neighborhood and he's going around shooting people and the cops just come by and just, spray their bullets and they kill the man, or no, they don't kill the man. They don't kill the man they was actually going for, but they kill the man that was waiting in the car, his helpers, and then they killed 20 and 30 other people around him. Would you think that's okay? No, it's like they have completely different standards. If we do it, it's okay. If America does it, it's okay. It's not terrorism. But if other people do it, then that's a fucking crime that needs to be, punished with unlimited bombs. So the St. Patrick's Day massacre killed 278 civilians. The first airstrike of Trump killed 30 civilians, and that was in Al-Baida, Yemen. And then inaugural day weekend, there was 10 that was killed. There's been 70 airstrikes against Yemen in March 2017. No telling how many of these airstrikes killed how many civilians. 30 civilians were killed March 21st. We're bombing Syria, right? Even pissing Russia off, right? Bombing their fucking airport, and then the next day the airport was working. So what was the point of that? But we did kill 30 civilians. 19 airstrikes were used on March 21st. April 13th, the U.S. dropped the mother of all bombs on Afghanistan, largest bomb has ever been used. Supposedly it hit an ISIL tunnel complex. Let's hope that's true. Let's hope there was no innocents whatsoever killed by the mother of all bombs. April 14th, for the first time since 1994, is deploying dozens of regular troops in Somalia. So we got boots on the ground in Somalia. I'm sure that's not going to cause... We bombed Eritrea. I was like, what country is Eritrea? We were in Djibouti. We were in Algeria. And I was like, when were we in Algeria? What the fuck? When did that happen? I remember Bush was bombing Somalia. Trump has actually put boots on the ground. It doesn't. That's how it starts. That's how it begins. We put military advisors, which are boots on the ground, right? Yeah, I guess they're not, walking around with a gun. They're like civilian boots. And then May 18th, Trump bombed Syrian troops again. And then there was a firefight in Somalia. Navy SEAL Kyle Milliken was killed. What did Kyle Milliken die for? And 2 other U.S. personnel were injured during a firefight with al-Shabaab militants about 40 miles west of Somalia's capital, Mogadishu. We're in Somalia. We're in Africa. There's 20 countries, 96 operations in 20 different nations in Africa, in addition to the 7 or 8. But we're probably in every fucking country we could get away with being in. unless we invade Britain and the whole fucking country is just outraged and we see the media reports, no fucking way. We'll keep bombing all these poor third world countries as long as we have some, you know, well, there's terrorists there. Are you sure? I don't know. They got oil, though. Okay. So, let's carry on with my genius. Okay, so she says, you know, I'm editing this comment since I apparently didn't add. Thomas Ritchie points out that, look, they're setting up oil wells. Please don't call me naive, Thomas Ritchie. I get your point. Compare the two as apples and oranges. I said Trump killed an American girl with his first airstrike, plus 30 civilians. How many did that Manchester bomber kill? So 22 is how many that Manchester bomber killed, but Trump killed 30 in that Yemeni attack, that one Yemeni attack, his first airstrike, the first one, not the 17, you know, fucking 100 or whatever airstrikes in March, but in January 20s, in the January 20s. Trump has special forces in 20-plus nations in Africa. He's escalating the Afghanistan war. Remember when LBJ escalated Vietnam and America lost their fucking mind? We escalate these wars all the time. Bush was talking about the surge. He got his surge. And then $120 billion armed deals to the Saudis who are Khalifa extremists. Why don't you stop financing the fucking terrorists there, Lise G. Rosenfeld? We're literally giving money to Al-Qaeda and ISIS and the white helmets in Syria. And we're literally giving arms deals, $120 billion to the Saudi Arabian government. The ones who produced the 9/11 terrorist. The, you know, beginning of the war on terror. The quintessential example of what a terrorist is. Came out of Saudi Arabia. We just rewarded that government $120 billion with a $120 billion arms deal. Why don't you say some shit about that? Why don't we stop supporting these goddamn fucking terrorist regimes? But you're not serious about stopping terrorism. You're just a murderous, jingoist, right-wing psycho. You're just going with your gut. So if you're at the thing, yeah, I agree. If you're at the fucking concert, if someone's about to point the gun at you, you kill them first. Right? That's okay. That's when it's okay. That's self-defense. So you see a guy walking around and you see bombs and shit on him. I think you could shoot him, right? If he's got like a thing, his hand lets go of the button, you know, everybody dies. So I think it's a very, you know, testy situation. But do you have a right to use violence against that dude? Yeah, you do. Absolutely. But now we're not in the situation. The aftermath, you know, we've seen it. It's horrible. Give, you know, remember the victims. Get justice for the victims. Don't forget the legacy of the victims. What were they about? What did they, you know, believe in? So we got 278 innocents Trump killed on St. Patrick's Day in Mosul. I'm just going to keep repeating this shit because, you know, these are important things. How are we going to forget about this? Because it didn't happen to us. We're bombing Yemen, Sudan, Libya, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria. So 7 countries we're officially bombing. And then, again, here's another guy. Only when America and its allies stop attacking other countries. Yep, Thomas Ritchie says, apples and oranges. That's real profound. Lise G. Rosenfeld, when we bomb war zones. When we kill the innocent, it's not planned. Yes, we make big mistakes. It seems to me you're missing my point. No, you're missing our point. You're saying that a mistake is acceptable. Let's assume that's true. Let's assume that all the fucking innocents that we killed were just mistakes. They're still dead. They're still dead. So Canada blows up Missouri, and they accidentally kill 300 people in Missouri because they were going after the KKK terrorist. And they say, oh, my bad, my mistake. You would accept that? You would not accept that. You would not accept it. You got to be careful. If you're saying that you're going after the KKK, first of all, why are you in our country fighting the KKK? And though I wouldn't be against it, to be honest with you. But why were you, you know, in our country bombing people? And then when you did it, you killed a bunch of innocent people. So maybe there's some thin justification for you killing, you know, the KKK. But when you killed people that weren't associated with the terrorists that you were attacking, We would declare war. We would declare war on Canada. But apparently we're allowed to do that to other nations and other countries. Over 1 million were killed in Iraq. Yeah, one's genocide. It's apples and oranges. Yeah, one's fucking genocide. One's systemic, methodical fucking genocide. The other one is just a lone fucking nut. Both is murder. So a lot of people point out, you're a victim of corporate propaganda. Lise, G. Rosenfeld, the same corporations that buy our politicians to ensure our engagement. Okay, so I said, how are the 30 civilians killed by Trump's first airstrike in Yemen better than what the Manchester bomber did? How's that any better? It's not. It's not any better. I also suspect that you have no idea what atrocities our government do in our name. She didn't. You could give a fuck less about the 278 dead that your taxes went towards to the St. Patrick's Day massacre in Mosul. To you, that's better. She started calling me dense, so I called her dense back. And I said, well, name one atrocity that the government did that you're opposed to. I bet you can't. She never, oh, she did name actually. She said, I didn't like the bombs dropped in Japan. I didn't agree with Vietnam. I didn't agree with Yemen. Yemen is still going on. She's acting like these are all past. If they bomb and kill the enemy like they're supposed to, then good. What if the enemy was the Western population? What if the whole point of that Manchester bombing was to attack a bunch of civilians to scare the shit out of everybody? Maybe that was the point. So that means he targeted the enemy and he was successful, right? As long as you've got an enemy in your mind. People get killed in wars. Hey, shit happens, right? I hate war. I think all war is bullshit. The only war that's okay is revolution. If you cannot say it's a revolutionary war, fuck that war. I'm not in favor of any wars whatsoever. I'm against every goddamn war out here. So when someone chooses to go to war in a war zone, that's one thing. When you're at a concert, that's another. When someone chooses to go to war in a war zone, so now she's assuming that the civilians that were killed went there. They were killed in their homes. They were killed in their towns. And she assumes that they're like, well, time to go to the war zone. I'm just a civilian wanting to get killed. La-di-da-di-da-di-da. No, that's a war zone because the people who are attacking it calls it a war zone. And that's why with war you gotta, you can't kill citizens. You have to show some restraint. War is hell. Who gives a shit? You can do whatever the fuck you want. No, you can't. If we're the good guys, then you restrain yourselves and you don't kill the innocent. You do anything and everything that you can to make sure innocent civilians are not killed. So, she's like what I said, what is your point, Jonathan? I made mine. All you're doing is hassling me with no point, really. I'm fucking chock full of information, chock full of facts. And she's just like, gosh, why are you picking on me? That's not what I meant. You're just getting all my words totally confused. No, I'm not confusing you. I'm not mixing you up. I know exactly what you're saying. And you could be this. I see women do this, where they pretend like I'm nice and I'm gentle. Oh, did I say the wrong thing? I always say the wrong thing. Yeah, I guess you did if you're just trying to find out the right thing to say. Well, how about say the actual right thing to do? You know what I mean? It's not about reacting or saying the right thing. It's about giving a shit and stopping, bad things from happening. So I've mentioned, well, what happened after 9/11? It was used as justification to ramp up the militarism. I said, she's like, you seem to have a problem with America. And then I wrote, impeach Trump, stop murder. That's the point. I'm opposed to murder. You seem to oppose that. So if being America means you're for murder, okay, then I'm against America. But if being American means you believe in democracy and you believe in freedom and you're against murder, then I'm one of the best goddamn Americans out here. In fact, because of people like Lise G. Rosenfeld, you need people like me. She's all ready to go jingoistic bomb whoever the fuck the government says to bomb. Don't even give a shit about what happened, who it was. She just heard about it today. Now she's all pissed off and wants to be like, well, let's go kill some more. She's like, no, I have more things to do, right? It isn't terrorism if America does it. So the 22 poor souls in Manchester were killed just attending a concert. That sucks, but I understand the political forces at work. Immediately, Nigel Farage is asking the UK government to amp up their militarism. And she responds, so you think if nothing is done, it will stop? You think if nothing's done, it'll stop? Is that what you're saying? I don't think we should have a gut reaction. It's British. The guy was born in Britain. So if we need to invade a country, we need to invade Britain, right? What else can we do? His parents are in Libya. I don't know where he got his money from, but if he got a job, you know, from a corporation in Britain, we'll go after that corporation, shut that corporation down, blow up his neighborhood, right? Take over his neighborhood. You got to do something, right? You just use violence. Gut reaction, fucking use violence. No, I think that's stupid. I think that's bullshit. And I think that'll only create, you know, more problems. That'll make the fucking situation worse. And I said, if you want to stop terrorism, stop participating and funding it. And then I was like, well, the guy's already dead. What would you suggest? Coup d'etat Honduras? Would you want to, you know, kill another million in Iraq? So there's a British guy who blew up some people in a concert in Britain. So let's fucking blow up Iraq, right? That makes as much sense after 9/11. Fuck it. Who cares? It don't make any sense. It's terrorism in Iraq, right? Let's just blow up Iraq. Cynthia Barnes is very important. She says, children were killed by our bombs just attending school, being in hospitals, at the market, just sleeping. These are war crimes. We're fuck. I'd like to think that we're killing more ISIS killers than everybody else, but the first airstrike just shows to me that we're killing more civilians than we're killing the so-called bad people. And we've called Nelson Mandela a bad person. We called Bin Laden a good person. So our government has got it wrong. And I'm just supposed to trust the government, just supposed to trust authoritarian, militaristic people. I cannot do that. So the Cynthia Barnes Nordstrom comes in. She says, if we stop, it will ease. Terrorism and terrorists have been part of humanity since day one. We could do more in preventing the causes in the first place. Excellent. Preventive medicine is cheaper than emergency room medicine. It doesn't matter what you said. My reply stands. We have bigger, better bombs and better ways to releasing it without personal responsibility. We do deliver bombs, and if the only way we had to reciprocate was by suicide bombings and concerts, we would do it. We just do it to ourselves instead. Oklahoma City bombing, Unabomber, Jewish Defense League, Olympic bombings, Atlanta, attacks on sheiks and sheik temples, Charleston church bombing, 16 street church bombing, multiple anti-choice killings, hundreds of KKK murders, bombings still active. The order. Also, Mountain Meadows massacre, white racist attacks on Greenwood community in Tulsa, Oklahoma, anthrax attacks, to name a few. She's saying there's terrorism going all around. We're killing ourselves. So why are we so pissed off about this terrorist in Britain? It's bad. It sucks. But what about the people that, you know, Candace Hiltz? Candace Hiltz was killed in Fremont County. There's a lot of missing people. There's an inmate that died in the prison. James Holmes killed, you know, the people in the movie theater. Even that Orlando shooter was an American. So basically, she's right. She points out, Lise G. Rosenfeld, you just showed how clear you are about denying our own acts of terrorism in the Middle East and at home. Yeah, absolutely. It's exactly what she's saying. I just pointed out 278 is greater than 22. I just pointed out, too, also that suicide bombers are desperate. That's why they use that tactic, you know. So just because we have prettier bombs with prettier planes on prettier jets on prettier drones, you know, if you kill somebody with a little crappy pea shooter, well, you're a terrorist. But if you have a nice, fancy 357 chrome, shiny, pure silver Magnum, right? If you have a 357 silver Magnum fucking gun, that's okay. As long as you kill with a pretty gun. But if you kill with an ugly gun, I mean, the suicide terrorist is a desperate tactic. So I would, in terms of murder, it's easy to push a button and kill somebody over there and then to forget about it. But to say, I disagree with this thing, I'm putting a vest on and I'm walking out there and I'm ending all of it, that man really believed in what the fuck he was doing. So if we want to stop it, we should find out who the fuck he is and why is he doing what he's doing. So I asked her to name one possible solution. She pretended she didn't have any solution. She's been talking about violence the whole time. She's talking about TSA, the fucking screenings. You know, if it might be inconvenient for you, then, you know, we'll do whatever we need to do. And then she was like, well, why don't you tell me what to do? Stop financing terrorism, stop saying terrorism is bad by simultaneously using it. Quit being a hypocrite about it, you know, if you're serious about terrorism, which she isn't. And then I said that she's not special, nor is she good. And then she tries to admit that she says that she's a liberal. Yeah, with murder. You're liberal with murder. And then how to also stay informed, vote on based on who finances war and terrorists and, you know, who doesn't. So, it says you have not been clear on what you're posting, if that's what you mean. And she says, well, look, you know, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, you're not a liberal. Liberal's not bound by authoritarianism, orthodoxy, or traditional forms, who believes in the freedom of the individual and governmental guarantees of individual rights and liberties in accord with concepts of maximum individual freedom possible, especially as guaranteed by law and secured by governmental protection of civil liberties. Liberals don't ignore the atrocities and negative consequences of its government's actions. They don't advocate the loss of civil liberties. By the way, we don't need to bomb civilians into oblivion, torture illegally when there is no probable cause or direct association, hold people, including U.S. citizens, in an island detention camp without due process or ability to communicate with family, legal counsel, or be conspirators with those who do. And then you have a problem with America. I have a problem with bad shit people do. So whether it's in the name, whether it's with, you know, my government that is cloaked with the flag or not, murder is murder. And then eventually she loses her mind. So, success! Great success! Lise Jill Rosenfeld, she says, my God, you people are nuts. I already commented about that, Cynthia. I never advocated complicity. I don't advocate strapping bombs on people and blowing anyone up. What the hell does that have to do with anything else? You people are so wrapped up in trying to put me in a category to suit your crazy agenda. I guess you're okay with whatever it takes to make a point, even strapping bombs on your body to prove it. You both have accused me of things you made up in your minds. I find anything that purposely kills children or those not involved in what any government or country or individual started worse than those who have chosen to fight or whatever they believe in. You don't kill innocent people to prove a point. As you can see, I don't run from a conflict when it comes to my character integrity, and I don't appreciate anybody trying to put me in a category I don't fit in. You're arguing with someone who is not disagreeing with how you feel about what is going on, but might disagree with how you're slandering with your comments. You said I'm not a liberal. Anyone that knows me knows I am. I have no tolerance with anyone who does that to me when I am well aware of what is going on and how I feel about it. You two are so fixated on trying to make your point. You neglected to see mine, but instead you've twisted it to suit some sort of weird idea you have. So as far as I'm concerned, you both can go screw yourselves. And I was actually done with this thread, but then actually talking about this makes it feel better. I was like, do you even know why when I was talking about the last video, I was like, do you even know why that dude bombed Manchester? Do you even know the reason? You're sitting there trying to say that, you know, we need to stop terrorism. Let's find out the reason. Why did he do it? And if it's something that's some bullshit, if there was some injustice he was going through, let's stop doing that. Yeah, can you put more security measures up at, you know, fucking public events? I guess in a way we already accept that shit, but I hate it. The level you submit to is the level, you know, that'll be, level of injustice that'll be perpetuated upon you. So the level you submit to, as soon as you raise your hands, let people touch your body and take pictures of all your stuff, well, hell, they just, you know, dehumanized you. You ain't nobody now. So, if we have that, let's have rotating people. I don't want the same stupid fucks every time. Let's have completely different people, people from the community. Let's have a rotating system, okay? Just having TSA bullying every goddamn person, it is an inconvenience, but it's also fucking, it's humiliating, and it's fucking criminal. Being an American, you know, you're going to just, hey you, who's walking around, who's going to a park to listen to this concert, hey you. I mean, there's people all over the place at any point in time. So if I go to a park for a concert, yeah, there's, I guess, more people that are in a concentrated area. I just think that, you know, if people really want to hurt a lot of people, they could easily do it anywhere they went. So if we solve the underlying issues, we prevent it from happening before it even happens. So can we get more authoritarian? Can we get more draconian? For Americans, no. I say don't fucking do it. It happened in Britain. Sorry, British people, that sucks. Sorry, Ariana Grande, that it happened on your concert. That might, you know, put you out of business, you know, or might make it more titillating. I saw a guy, actually, a picture of a white dude with a James Holmes wig. He was wearing an orange hair, you know, sitting in a movie theater, and a black dude took a picture of him sitting next to him. And the kid was laughing about it, but that's scary, right? Go around wearing James Holmes wigs. So, 9 more seconds. Just peace in the Middle East. Viva la Revolucion. John Masters, Pueblo, Colorado. Suck it.